This is the Zotac Magnus ER51060. It's a small form factor bare-bones system that features an AMD Ryzen 5 processor and also a desktop grade GTX 1060 graphics card. The design and build of the computer are extremely nice, with a full metal chassis that is just over 30cm wide and 12cm tall. This makes it ideal if you have a small desk or plan to use this computer in a living room environment. There is a good range of ports on the computer, with audio connectivity on the front alongside an SD card reader, USB Type-C port which isn't Thunderbolt, and also a USB Type-A port. The back is where the rest of the connectivity is. There are 4 USB 3 ports. It would have been nice to see a few more considering that this is still a desktop computer, and I would have also liked to see audio connectivity options on the back of the computer. You also have your network connectivity on the back. You have a choice of either putting in the wireless antennae or Ethernet, and you have up to 2 Ethernet connections. And you also plug your monitor into your graphics card on the back. One thing that you will want to consider is that the power supply for this computer is external, so the 230 watt power supply is going to take up some space on the floor, but it does help save some space in the case. So, the computer is a bare bones computer, and this means that it comes with the processor, graphics card, case and motherboard, but it still needs storage, RAM and an operating system, so you would have to factor those additional parts into the total cost. And you may be thinking that you can go and get all these parts for yourself and build it for a cheaper cost, and that may be the case, but with graphics card prices being all over the place at the moment, it can be quite difficult to tell. So even if the cost is still more than building it yourself, you're paying for the convenience of having an almost built bare-bones system and that time saved from just buying a unit. If you open up the bottom of the computer with the thumb screws, this is where you add those final parts, and there's space for a 2.5-inch drive, and this could be a SSD or a spinning drive, and there's also space for an M.2 SSD and also your RAM, and this machine supports up to 32 gigs of RAM, so if you want to go all out, you can. The graphics card could also be upgraded in the future if you want. You may have to make sure that the graphics card could fit in this case, as standard sized cards mostly won't fit, and you'll have to take the case apart a little bit more. The computer performs well thanks to its Ryzen 5 1400 processor and GTX 1060 graphics card. This is only the 3GB model of the GPU and not the 6GB model, so games that use a lot of video memory may struggle, but the games that I've played on this have run very well. The performance with the GTX 1060 and Ryzen 5 is pleasant. It doesn't quite manage all of the latest games on ultra settings, but it manages most of them very well on very high and still some on ultra, so that was very nice to see. Now it may be falling behind on some of the latest games because this is the lower end version of the GTX 1060, but if you can cope with not playing every single game on ultra, the experience with this computer is going to be great. I did find that when the computer was under load, the fans would get quite loud, and they're barely noticeable when idle, but as soon as you jump into a game, for example, the fans do get louder than I would expect. And the fan speed can be tweaked in the BIOS, but you may experience some thermal throttling then. So overall, the Zotac ZBOX is a great way to get into PC gaming if you're looking for a small computer to use in a living room, or even simply if you're just looking for a small form factor computer that still manages to pack a punch. You'll be able to game with it, video editing, anything like that, and performance is decent enough to still be able to play the latest and greatest, even if it isn't on the highest settings all the time, and the overall experience of using the computer is very nice. There are a few little things here and there that aren't absolutely perfect, but overall it is a well-rounded system that does what it says on the tin. So that's been it for this video. Thanks to Zotac for sending out this computer for review. I will leave a link in the description if you're interested in finding out more and checking it out. But otherwise, that's been it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.